We always have. It should be recording. Yay, thank you. All right, so we're Legacy Christian Co-op. My name is Elizabeth Smith. I told some of you guys a little bit of our history. We used to be part of Inspire Christian Co-op that meets here on Mondays, and they got so big they needed to start a second day is what they decided to do on Tuesdays. And then Taylor and I were part of that, and we were put on the Tuesday team doing some of the leadership stuff. And last year, it felt like it was time for us just to become our own co-op, all very friendly, but we were just like, it's time for us to be our own people, and that's what we did. So this is our first year. We're finishing up our inaugural year as Legacy Christian Co-op. And if you have your overview sheet, I'm going to go through this. If you're visual, I'm a visual person too, so I like to look at things while I listen too. Legacy Christian Co-op strives to provide a quality and fun group learning experience and a supportive Christian homeschool community for children and parents. And those are kind of our two big objectives, is a quality group learning experience and a community for your homeschooling family. That you're going to find if you go to any of these other informational meetings, there are lots of different types of co-ops that have different things, but we're into group learning and we're into working together as a family. We are guided by the Lord Jesus Christ and the infallible Word of God, the Bible, as our final authority for life. And our co-op verses are Psalm 127. I think Justine is going to tell us about that in a little bit, but they remind us that children are a heritage, reward, and arrows with which we are blessed. And we want to honor God in this community by pointing them toward Him as we learn about His amazing world. So we are a Christian co-op. We are not any denomination. We aren't affiliated with Waxhaw Bible Church. They just are wonderfully awesome to let us use their facilities on Tuesdays, and we pay them for that as well. So, we are non-denominational. We have families from all over the Christian spectrum, I guess if you want to call it that. But we focus on the things that we all believe together, and we will talk about Jesus, and we will talk about the Bible, and that's a part of who we are. We will pray. We do all of those kinds of things. I'm going to go over the schedule that is on here. If you came to our day, one of our days, we have a schedule, and this starts, I think our calendar also tells you, so we start the Tuesday after Labor Day, not the day after Labor Day, but the week. Thank you, September the 12th. And this is what we do on most Tuesdays at 8:45. We have a setup team that is here setting up some things. At 9:20, we encourage families to arrive, and then at 9:30, we have an opening time, and Justina will be doing our devotion times during our opening time. Pledge allegiance to the flag, the U.S. flag. We have a great devotional, and just a good way to start off together. You grab a name tag. Just say that you'll have name tags out there in the foyer that you and your family get. There'll be colored sheets on the floor out here that match the color of your class, and the kids sit with their classes, listen to the devotion. If there's any announcements about the day, that's what we do during opening time. At 9:45 to 10:45, we have our first block, and that's what we call that first class session is first block, and it's usually either some sort of history or science. We're kind of loose on that this year, but that's okay. It's history or science this year. Okay, so history or science is what we do during that first block. The kids will go into their classrooms, and right now we have a classroom on each side of this building, and then when you go out the doors over here to the left, they're modular buildings that there will be classrooms in as well. Now, the funny thing about that is the church is building a new classroom out this back over here. They're going to be changing that parking lot into a huge classroom building with 14 huge classrooms. It'll be great. However, this year it's going to be a lot of building stuff going on, and they will have to tear down those modulars at some point because that's where they're going to build their parking they're taking from over here. Nobody knows when that will happen, how long that will be, what will be going on. So we do know, I'm going to warn you up front, this is going to be a flexible year. We do not know exactly where all our classes will be at all times. There may be days that we say, let's go to a park, or we're going to do one big group lesson together or something. We will have to be flexible with the buildings and things like that. That's where we are with all of that. That is first block. we'll go back to the schedule, sorry. First block, it lasts 1 hour. Then at 10:45, the kids have the youngest kids, the preschoolers, get to go out to recess, which I don't know if you saw it, but there's a playground and like a basketball court kind of thing way over there, and that will not be bothered by construction at all. So we have the younger kids do recess, the older kids get to eat a snack. We encourage them to you pack your snack. We don't give it to you. To bring a hefty snack because we do go until 1 o'clock, so it's a little late for lunch for some people. Have that hefty snack. Then at 11 o'clock, we switch it out. Younger kids come and have their bathroom and snack, and the older kids go to recess from 11 to 11:30, and then at 11:35 we come back for second block. That block time, that second block is usually a creative arts type of thing, something that just doesn't really fit history or science, and so it's a lot of fun to do as well. When all of that is done, the classes clean up at 12:35. They clean up their classroom, putting away their tables and chairs and all that good stuff. And then we come back in here at 12:45 for a closing time announcements. We sing happy birthday to anybody who has a birthday that week, doxology, and then we get out of here. You leave your name tags. And then we encourage you, if you would like to pack a full-on lunch or whatever you want, we have several families that stay afterwards to play on the playground and eat lunch together, whatever you might like to do like that. And then we do have some people that clean up here. You have to stay and that good stuff to make sure we're leaving the church in good order. Any questions about the schedule? Straightforward. Oh, good, like that. All right, and then I just wanted to mention about the children's classes. Each of the kids will be put into a color-coded class. So right now, this can change because it depends on how many kids of what ages we have registered for next year. But right now we have a light blue class, which is like 3 and 4-year-olds. We have a lime green class, and that's like our 4 and 5-year-olds, and that's like TK or kindergarten. And both of those are considered our preschool classes, and they do separate. Taylor will tell you about that more. And then we have a red class, they meet over here, and that's like 1st and 2nd grade. An orange class, which is 3rd, we have a lot of 2nd and 3rd graders. And a yellow class, which is a little older. Turquoise class, a little older than that. And then the gray class, which is like junior high, is going to be your 6th, 7th grade. And then we have high school in there. That is 8th grade and up this year, which may change next year. It depends on our registration as well. All right, so that's an overview of how we do the children and what we do during the day. I'm going to let Taylor talk to you about what moms do.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so moms are broken up into different teams. So we're a co-op where moms are teaching, and not only do we have some gifted teachers, we have some moms that work on curriculum. We have some moms that help run our events, our dance and our mom's night out and our field trips. And then we also have some administrative assistants as well that work on some of things like this or help with our cleanup crew, things like that. So everybody is given, basically we've kind of taken all of our roles, barring leadership, who does 46 times more outside of co-op than everybody else. But the general mom, we kind of took everybody's we took all these roles and basically just kind of said, we feel like these are all fairly evenly chunked time outside of co-op, if that makes sense. So it's kind of even Stevens as much as it can be. So we try to pair it based off of your giftings and interests. So if you love to teach, maybe you sign up for the teaching team. If you are great at doing events, or if you are an excellent spreadsheet, maker, sign up for admin. We try to put you in your first top 2 of that. So our curriculum team, we don't use an actual good and beautiful curriculum. These are things that we are coming up with ourselves. So this is Pinterest. This is giving you a Google Doc of some ideas. If you'd like them, if you are like, hey, I absolutely am fantastic at God's Unique Creations. I'm teaching about dinosaurs and I'm an expert at it and I don't need curriculum, then please don't make us. Because if you love it and you want to run with it, we want to empower you to do that. So we do have a curriculum team that can help pull activities and materials together for you if you'd like to utilize that resource. Every mom does teach. So that is intimidating to some people, but we also need people to rock babies. So that's a teaching role too. So that every mom does teach at least once throughout the year. The way that our teaching works, I know this is going to be kind of difficult to originally. It makes so much sense. This year we changed it and it's been awesome. The way it is like, let's just say you are teaching Asia geography. Okay. You are not teaching all 5 weeks different Asian countries. You are teaching your same Asian, let's just say you get assigned Japan. You're teaching Japan for 5 weeks in a row, and you're going to rotate to each of the classes. So one week you're going to teach it to our red class, our kindergarten, first grade. The next week, you're going to scale your lesson up a little bit more, and you're going to teach that to our second and third graders. The next week, you're still teaching Japan, but you're going to throw a little more meat and potatoes in to teach to the next class. So it's really a lot of the same activities you can do among the same group of kids, but you're just making that information a little bit more age appropriate for each class you're teaching. That has been a huge change this year for us. That's been a big quality of life change for the moms, is that you're not teaching 5 different Asian countries to one class. You're now teaching just your one country to all the different classes. And that's been great, like work now. So that is how our primary program is taught. Our preschoolers, we do have the same teachers with our preschoolers every session, just because we feel like they do best with the consistency. Let me talk about preschool first. We have Miss Sharon, and we have some other teachers who've been absolutely incredible this year who've come up with our preschool program. What are they going to teach your kids next year? I haven't a clue. I do not care because it's going to be amazing, because Sharon is fantastic. I have a 4-year-old in her preschool program, and I haven't asked her because it doesn't matter, because she's going to be. My kids love it. She walks right in. She never would have done that in years past. Walks straight in there, and she's like living her best preschool life. So if you have a preschooler, I can't recommend our preschool more. It's been fantastic. Our primary program is going to run with this schedule right here. Session 1 is going to be Who Was, What Was, U.S. President Style. So do you know what those Who Was book series are? Have you seen those? So these are presidents of the 1900s, and then an activity based off of what happened during their presidency. So let's just say if we did Herbert Hoover, we might do the Hoover Dam. So you're going to talk about him as a president, as well as something that happened during his presidency. For second block, we are going to be doing all things engineering. Those things are going to be, we broke that up to like mechanical, civil, electrical, network engineering. So all things engineering. Each week is a different type of engineering that we'll be learning about. Our second session is going to be geology. We've broken that out into things like fossils and tectonic plates and diamonds and gold. And then we're going to go to Reed Gold Mine. We have to be off property on election day. So we have already booked Reed Gold Mine for that. Our second block is going to be Heroes of the Faith. That's going to be discussing different missionaries or heroes of Christian faith. I think we've looked at certain ones like Eric Liddell and Amy. No, I don't think we did. Did we do her? I can't remember. Misty Lowry helped me come up with that. But Natalie, that might be up your alley. I was reading and I was like, who might be excellent at this? You know some things about that. Okay, then we're going to do, this is one of the best changes we also made, is that we are going to stop co-op November 14th and not see each other again until January 9th. Thank you, cold and flu season. It's because, honestly, we have Thanksgiving, and then you have Christmas. And we really found, this is my 6th year, I think, in co-op, that we had such low attendance in December between sickness or not wanting to get sick, that the ship was having a hard time sailing. So we went ahead and just said, you know what? We will do play dates. We'll do the Christmas celebration, which is so fun and optional to come to. But let's just be with our families for the holiday season. So we break Thanksgiving, Christmas, come back. Session 3 is about geography. We're going to be talking about different Asian countries, a different country each week. And then for second block, we're coming back from recess and going into Asian art and cooking. So from a logistics standpoint, we can't have 5 classes cooking in our one kitchen. So we're going to have some of the classes doing an art project and some of them doing cooking, and then they'll rotate each week who gets an art project and who gets cooking. And that will relate to the country they just learned. So if you learned about Japan first block, you're doing Japanese cooking and art second block. So that'll be super neat. I'm excited about that one. For session 4, we are going to go into God's unique creation. So people really wanted animals when they were sending us ideas for this coming year. And a lot of us have done animals or biomes or things like that. So we're trying to think, how can we do animals and make it something unique? So God's Unique Creations is going to be about our lesser known animals. Our fish in the Mariana Trench, or 1 week is on dinosaurs, because we did have some kids who really want to learn about dinosaurs. I really don't want to do 5 weeks on dinosaurs, but some I don't mind doing a week on it. So we're going to talk about some different animals. Why did God put them here? What is their purpose? And some just really cool information about different unique creations. Second session is going to be public speaking, but this is going to be done in a STEM related way where it's like a challenge, like a Lego challenge maybe. Or next week it might be if we're doing a how-to speech, they've got to explain how they made their peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So a really hands-on way of doing public speaking and giving them some presentation skills, but in a STEMmy way where it doesn't feel like they're learning public speaking. Then we're breaking for Easter. We come back for session 5, and we're going to talk about inventors and inventions. There were some on there that were like the incubator, stethoscope. Gosh, I know. There was a fun list of just different inventors and inventions. I know one of them was a light bulb. So that'd be neat. Second session is we're coming back and talking about self-reliance. That's survival skills. That's using things we have. We did do homesteading this year, so we're gonna have to do a little bit different than like your stereotypical homesteading to bring it into some different stuff. But survival skills and self-reliance. And that sounds like a pretty neat and potentially relevant topic. That is how we are running our curriculum team. Our teaching team this coming year, we are doing 5 sessions. We'll likely teach 3 different sessions if you're on the teaching team. The curriculum team, probably 1 or 2, depending on our registration on how many different moms we have to sign up, really, just the logistics of it. Our admin team and our events team usually teach 1 session. You can fulfill your teaching roles in our primary program, our preschool program, or our high school program. I do have a counterpart. I did want to mention her name, Heather Easton. I love you. And I'm looking forward to working with her. So she and I will be running curriculum and teaching team. And then Amanda here is going to run our high school.
Okay. It's time for me. My name is Amanda. I'm super excited actually that there's high school moms here because I wasn't too sure if there would be. And are all of you high school moms? No, you're having a baby. Okay. So this year our high school program was really cool, but I think we just couldn't get the kids to come out of their shells. And I think it was more like being lectured to, kind of like the kids were feeling anyway. So they just sat there and it was painfully silent in a lot of the classes. So we talked to all the moms and all the kids, and they kind of came up with some really cool ideas. They wanted to do more of what we're doing in the primary, rotating different things, different STEM types of things, or I should say elective based. So not credit based. We're not going to be trying to get any credits out of co-op this year. You can definitely use whatever we do here towards what you're doing in your homeschool, but it's impossible to get with the little amount of time that we have. And then everyone's doing different things in their own homeschool curriculum, so it's really hard to get credit. But if you look at the calendar, we're basically rotating just the same way that the primary is doing. So for session 1, high school is doing kitchen science, which I love that idea. I think it's really exciting. We have there's a program called Young Chefs, and that's what we're going to be using. I just saw that today for the first time, and I was like, oh, this is great. So thank you for that. But like some of the examples that they could be learning in kitchen science, we saw were cellular respiration, like how yeast works when you're making rolls, or how protein denatures with eggs, like when you're cooking proteins and things like that. So it's science, but related to food and cooking. And the kids are going to get out of their seats and have to talk to each other. That you'll see is like a running theme of what I'm going to say here today. It's like, will you guys talk? Because they learned so many awesome things, but they just sit there. So I don't know if it's the age but we're going to work on that this year. So for second block, for first session, it'll be PE and history of sports. Then moving on to session 2, we put PE, well, history of sports and then PE. So we really haven't decided on exactly what type of physical education.
Okay, so the way that we have that broken out was learning like what is the history of baseball? How did baseball come about? Let's learn the basics of baseball. Basketball. What's the history of basketball? Who are some famous people in basketball? What are the positions in a basketball? There's a point guard, there's a center. And then let's do some drills. So PE, not so much in the sense of like everybody do push-ups.
Right.
But more along the lines of using what we have based off of construction, which is mostly going to be this basketball court. We could get like a volleyball net on there 1 week. We could do that with the high schools. We wanted to do that for primary program, but the logistics didn't work out with as many classes as we have, but it works out perfect for the high schoolers. So it's learning the history of the sport, some people in it, and then putting a little bit of the skills into practice.
Thank you for that. No, I know it's funny because I didn't even think of that, but that's pretty cool. Okay, so we have session 2 for high school. We have investing. So we talked about stock market investing and just money management in general, just basics of that. We did this year, they learned how to write checks and things of that nature. So maybe we could expand on that and learn more of the investing side of things. Then for second block, we have photography. And I know we have a mom who is willing to step up on that. She runs a very successful photography business and has tons to offer in that. So then we have the election day, Thanksgiving break, Christmas celebration. Then we will come back to session 3, and this is where it gets interesting for the high schoolers because they get 2 sessions of public speaking. Again, they really need to work on being comfortable speaking in front of even each other, not getting up in front of 100 people and speaking, but just in front of their peers. So we thought of a few topics, still narrowing them down, but I have a couple written down here. That I thought were really cool. So like gathering materials and constructing a visual aid and presenting a how-to. How did I build this? Like just something so basic that they can feel comfortable in speaking about. Also presenting a children's Bible lesson, like a little mini teacher lesson. But we have to work on the logistics of that with time because there's 9 weeks there, and to do a project and then present on it, you have to figure out how many topics we can fit in, and we want to avoid homework. Because we learned this year that does not work. The kids some of them did it, some of them didn't. And so it's better to just, like we said, keep it lighthearted, let them just worry about co-op while they're at co-op and not have to take too much home with them extra to do because we're all doing so much other stuff. So then that's going to be going for 2 sessions. If you see, it says session 3, public speaking, and then session 4, it says public speaking again for high school. So we're doing that for the 2 sessions. But for session 3, block 2, it'll be art. And we probably have a whole bunch of topic ideas on that we have to hone in on. So, and also they're going to get to do international cooking, which is going to be fun. Again, they loved cooking this year. I felt like that was the highlight. Every time they would walk by the kitchen and smell like the primary kids were cooking cool stuff. We would do French fries and made pickles, and they were like, we want to do more of that. So we listened. So that's what they're going to do next year. Then we have Easter break. And session 5 is how it works for first block, which is that YouTube channel, how it works or how it's made. It's basic things that you use every day. It's sort of like the inventions topic, but it's more geared towards a little bit more complicated things. And then survival skills. And then there was one other thing. Oh, right, student teaching. Yeah, so that's something new this year that we're going to offer. A lot of the kids in high school were interested in working more with the little ones. So we're going to give the opportunity for them to sign up if they're interested and student teach during one of these sessions in the very young grades, like the preschool grades, with their moms. So if any kids if older high school kids are thinking about being teachers or homeschooling their kids one day, I think that would be a super fun idea. So any questions? I know this is kind of new still. Like we said, we have to be flexible on this because we just voted on these topics. And so there's like a lot of information coming at us that we haven't totally settled in on, but I think it's going to be great. Any questions? Yeah.
So how many just high schoolers did you have, not including your 8th graders?
This year, just high schoolers, do you know the number? Because I know there were some 8th graders.
I think were there
The total class.
Cole Suter.
So it probably was 12. We're around 12.
12.
11 or
Does that
12.
go all the way up to 12th grade, or was it
Yeah,
more?
11. There was only 11, but wasn't one? That one was 18 years old. 17.
But 11th grade.
Okay.
We are not graduating anybody this year.
It was a younger group,
Yeah, they were.
but they will be a year older now.
That's true, and they know each other. Maybe they'll talk. I'm telling you, it's so funny. They're really so sweet, and when you get to know each of them individually, they're not quiet. So that's why we were like, "What is going on?" So I think this will help.
Well, in the kids' defense, the moms, we all did sit down. I have an 8th grader who was rolling in high school. We did sit down, and the moms did say, "Hey, we want this for credit this year. And when things are for credit, there is a different level of expectation. And those kids were lectured to some for things like Spanish, and she did a great job with it. Is that as hands-on? No, but it was for credit, and it's not a bad lesson to teach your children to receive information and be lectured for an hour here and there. Of course, they saw their younger kids have, siblings having fun. So we did what we
It worked out.
we did what was asked. But I think the kids are, they're being talked at. So they do want more hands-on. And so this year we have the moms have voted, as have the kids, to say, all right, let's just do electives and let moms fill that gap on their transcript how they please. And I think that's just going to naturally manifest more conversation and more community when they're in the kitchen cooking together or playing together and things like that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Perfect.
Yep. Yes.
When will you decide whether the 8th graders are going to roll up? Because my daughter is going to 8th grade.
Sure. So when I look at this as like, I have a rolling into 9th grader, but I also have a rolling into 7th grader. These topics are pretty similar one way or the other. If I were in the position you're in of having an 8th grader, I would honestly be pretty jazzed either way, regarding the topics and kind of what we're doing next year. Which we're gonna have to look at registration and just kind of say, like, we don't normally put more than 15 kids in a class just for the logistics of size. And we actually have 2 classrooms that we really try to even keep under 15 just for too many bodies. And so as we look at registration, the way it worked out this past year was so cool. God, like, put like 15 kids, and then there was like a 4-month gap, and you would just draw a line. And then it was like another 15 kids, and it was just like perfect line. And I mean, it really was. Elizabeth and I were like, how is this happening? I mean, we had to do like no finagling. It was just so clear, and we were really praying for that this year to get to, because it was just like line, yep, line. I mean, it was just easy. As we're going through and we're making these lines, I feel like we're just praying that God makes it real easy for us again. Did we end up having to roll our 8th graders up, or did we keep them as a grade class? I don't know the answer to that. I wish I could tell you, but I think he's just going to sort it out for us.
I hope so, for sure. But I will say this about it. We will, I'm going to tell you a little bit about registration in a little bit. You'll be able to register till April 15th. After that is when we're going to divide people into groups. We will send the roster back to you, what we have come up with, and you get to approve it or not. Not approve it. You don't get to change it, but you can say I'm in, or I don't like this kind of thing. And then I would say with 8th graders, maybe depending on our number, if you have an 8th grader that you feel like would be great with high schoolers, we could just let us know that. Say, I'd really like them to be in the high school program. Type that in the there's a form that when we do the registration form, there's a place you can write about your child. Say, I'd really like them to be with the high schoolers. I really don't want them to be with high schoolers, whatever it is. And we will definitely take that into consideration. That stuff.
We asked the 8th grade moms this year if they were all okay going up or down.
I think we gave them the choice.
We
They
did give
didn't
them
want to, but all the 8th graders decided to go up with what we were doing. Good questions. Any other questions on that? And just so you're clear on this, who we are too. Yeah. I'm Elizabeth Smith. Jalen and I are kind of in charge of, well, I say in charge, but not really. It's a cooperative, but we're the people that the church talks to if they have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
For the comment boxes.
Yeah. And if you have a problem with anything, we're the people that do that. She's in charge of teaching and curriculum. I'm in charge of the extras team. It has been admin and events, but we're putting them together this year so that we have more people to draw from to do cleanup and to do events and things like that. So if you are like, she said, everybody is required to teach one time, but if you're like, teaching is not why I'm here. I want somebody else to teach my kids more than me, or they're tired of hearing me teach, or whatever it might be, then the extra team is where you belong, because we are the people that set the chairs up, we clean up all of this stuff afterwards, we make the name tags, we make coffee for people, we keep everyone caffeinated while they're here. Not all of us together, but everybody has a job to do with that stuff. And then we also are part of the events team, and Justina's doing that, does events. I'll let you talk in just a minute, but I just wanted to mention assistant. What? Oh, assistant. Yeah, that's a really good. Go right there.
It's been a week.
Show that.
All right, awesome. This summer, every summer, I send my husband to Carowinds with the kids for multiple days in a row. And I sit at the computer and have like a beautiful mind scenario. And we have these for every session. And these are our colored classes. So the first one is always our teacher, and then we have assistants. If you're not in a class teaching, you are typically in a class assisting. That's management, that's handing out, supplies, whatever. It's supporting your teacher. We also have floaters at the bottom. So 2 to 3 times a year, you will have not a job where you float. And that means that you might plug into a role if a mom is sick and out, or if we don't have roles for you, then it might look like sitting in the nursery and lady chatting and just getting to know each other more. And so we do ask that if you're not plugged into a classroom, we typically will kind of say, like, here's where we're going to gather. It's been in the nursery this year because we didn't have babies, but hopefully we have babies next year. And then that's just a time of community for you just to get to know some of the moms a little bit better during that hour when you don't have a specific role. So you're not teaching, you're typically assisting. A few times a year, you'll be a floater. We send this out. This is like just for one block. So there'll be 5 of these throughout the year.
For one session.
Yes, this is just for the one session. So it'll be like block 1, block 2, and then you just find your name on it, and that's where you're supposed to be for that day.
It's amazing.
I do not know how she does this, but that's kind of how this all works. This is very important. It will be on our Slack platform, which I don't know if you've ever been familiar. I was not familiar with Slack, so we started it with Co-op, but it's like I think businesses use it a lot. It's sort of like a private Facebook thing. But
It's like Microsoft Teams.
okay, there you go. I don't know what that is either, but if you know what that is, it's similar to that. It's just we can put messages on there. We can direct message somebody. We have channels that are like, if you're going to be absent, there's an absence channel. You can say, I'm going to be gone January 31st. Anybody take my place, because you are responsible for your finding substitutes for yourself. Can anybody take my place as an assistant in the green class or whatever? And some people do that. Or we have an event coming up. Justina will say our dance is coming up in February. We will put anybody like to talk. This is how you sign up for it. This is what we're doing. The time, all that kind of stuff. We will require you to sign up to Slack so you can know what all of that is. It's great if you will put it on your phone, the app on your phone. If not, you can check it online. But we do ask you to check that often. Justina, will you talk about? She's our spiritual life. You want to talk about events too, because you know a little bit about that. Go right.
Hi, I'm Justina. So on the event side, which was already mentioned, our biggest event of the year is the homeschool family dance, which it's really fun. A lot of families come and we just have a good time, but that is, the highlight of our events. But this year, the hope is that we will have some more mom meetups and mom events, and even maybe some classroom meetups like junior high, like fire pit and s'mores night or outdoor movie. So we're hoping to like build more of a community and just more regular interactions outside of just co-op setting. So that's for the event. And then for another important aspect of our co-op is our devotions. And I'm gonna go ahead and read our verse that we have for that, which is in Psalm 127. And it's, behold, children are a heritage from the Lord, the fruit of a womb, a reward. Like arrows in the hands of a warrior are the children of one's youth. Blessed is the man who fills his quiver with them. And like previously mentioned by Elizabeth, because we are a Christian co-op, we do center our lessons from a biblical viewpoint, and often we have scripture in them, always pointing the kids back to the Lord and intertwining anything that we're teaching them, how it's applied in the Bible or how we can apply that to our lives in a biblical way. So this year during our devotional time, which was previously mentioned, we start with prayer and then a quick like 5 to 7 minute devotion. And this year we're going to focus on growing godly character. So each week the goal is to present a new character trait and just have a short devotion time to that and build upon that each week. So I think that's all I have here. Can I turn it back to you for questions?
Sure. Any questions about that kind of stuff? Yes. Yeah, we're trying to do some field trips as well that go along with our topics we're going to be studying. Okay. All right. I'm going to zip on through. Doing okay. Oh yeah. On the back of your page, the overview, I'm going to zip through our policy highlights. We have a handbook. I think I brought some copies. So if you want to look through the handbook, we will require you to read the handbook before you say, yes, we're in this, we're good. But these are kind of the highlights that I put on here so that you know what is very important to us. First of all, there's the commitment. Under policy highlights, commitment. When accepting membership to Legacy, you're committing to actively being a part of the co-op for the entire school year and to attend each co-op meeting unless you are sick or unforeseen situations arrive. When a family must be absent, you are responsible for finding substitutes for all roles, for getting any supplies needed to the substitutes, and for communicating the changes to leadership. So as you can tell, a lot of little details. We're not a loosey-goosey co-op. We have it figured out. So when you're not here, it may seem like you're just a small part of a big thing, but you aren't. It's a cooperative program. We need you to do what you have been assigned to do. And if you aren't able to be there, we totally understand sickness. We don't want you here if you can't come, then we just ask you to make sure you get someone to fill in for you. You are responsible for that. Because there's no way I can everybody. People are sick, so it helps if you get your people there and definitely get your supplies to them. If you're teaching, you're responsible for getting that to them. And then communication, I just mentioned that under our policy highlights. We do ask you to check on Slack frequently so you know what's going on. We do communicate a lot of things there. And then our group guidelines to make group learning the best it can be. We operate with simple rules. There will be a set consequence process for teachers and assistants to go through when the rules are not allowed. Nothing, this isn't, or, we don't have a principal. We don't send you to the principal's office. And moms are here. That is different than the public learning thing like that. The moms are here. So we're just asking you as a teacher or assistant that you are to remind kids of the rules, rearrange them if they need to be rearranged, and then remove them if it continues to be a problem, because all discipline will be done in love with the intention of improving the group learning experience. And then if your child has special needs, not able to sit still for a long period of time, whatever it might be, please talk with us, Taylor or I, about it, and we'll make sure we know those things and communicate those things effectively to the teacher so that they know what we plan, so everybody knows what's going on. And then we do ask everyone to dress modestly, casually, similar to what you would wear at a church event. So that's kind of the highlights of our handbook, but we will ask you to read the handbook as well. I think I'll send that with the email that you'll get with the registration link, so you can make sure you understand everything. So this is what it costs. If you still want to do this, you're going to have to pay to be a part of this thing. But the reason why is because we have to pay the church to use it, and they don't charge us much more than what they pay for us to use it. We put some wear and tear on these buildings. They heat it, air condition it for us. We use their water. We use everything here. So we're paying the church to use it. We are paying for insurance. The church requires us to have insurance for ourselves. And then when you are a teacher here, we will Venmo or PayPal you somewhere around $40. It's usually around, depending on what the topic is, something like that. But you will get some money that you can use however you want to for your session that you are teaching. So that is for you to use. And so that is what a lot of these things are going for. $125 for insurance, rent, other co-op needs. It pays for the name tags. It pays for the coffee to keep people happy. It pays for other events and things that we do as well. Then there's a $50 supply fee per preschooler and per primary child for their class supplies. And this is the actual supplies that they're using for the classes. We're going to give you a list of basic school supplies that they put in their backpacks and bring each week. The crayons, the scissors, and all that kind of stuff those basic ones. Then we do a $10 background check every other year. We'll give you that information that you actually send it in, you pay the background check, and you send us the results of that. You only have to do, of course, if you're new, you have to do that this year. And then after that, it's just every other year. And then we do a $75 high school fee to cover curriculum. They are using a little bit of curriculum, and cooking is definitely expensive. And all of these fees are due by the start of the co-op year and are payable on PayPal or Venmo. Or if you need a payment plan, all of that is available if you need financial assistance. Talk to one of us about that. We would be happy to talk about those things. So this is how, if you're hearing all this and are still like, yes, I'm in, or if you still want to think about it, that's okay. But on April 7th, which is Friday, our registration will open for new people, new families, and we'll send you an email. That's why we ask for your email, and I may already have a lot of your email addresses, but just wanted to make sure we have it. So we'll send you an email that will have the registration link in it. It will have hopefully this video as well, so you can use it if you can re-look at it if you need to. It will have the handbook, the calendar, anything you need, the links to those things so you can make any other, if you have any other questions, you can look at that. We're going to send you that registration form. It will be open until April 15th. I know that sounds really fast, but it really helps us to have our roster in place, and then we have the summer to get all of this work and the curriculum to or the plans, get that. We will try to let you know by April 25th if there is a spot for you, somewhere around April 25th, and then on all the stuff going on. And then you will have 2 days to pay the $25 registration fee. Say, yes, we're in. I'm okay with the class you put my kids in. I'm in for all of this. Yes, then your $25 fee, you say, yes, that's what we're gonna do it. If you don't pay the fee in 48 hours, you're going to lose your spot, and we'll give that to a family on the waiting list if that is the case. Our plan is to have the final roster sent out by May 2nd, which is our last day of co-op, that we have all that figured out and have the summer to work on all of this. So, what else am I missing? What other questions do y'all have?
So I did want to say we are an inclusive group regarding allergies and special needs. Those just need to be very clearly written. When you write about your child, you're going to register. It'll say, like, tell us about your child. Writing your children's allergies is not going to get you like cut if they've got 14 of them, because we already have kids with 16. So, I mean, we are very inclusive. So but it helps us to plan around it, right? Like if your kid is anaphylactically allergic to chilies, it does not benefit any of us to not know that. So just put everything on there. And what happens with that is it gets put on the back of their name tags, their allergies, mom, and mom's cell phone numbers on the back of their name tag. So allergies, please put that on there. It is not a no. We have kids on the spectrum, and we've just got a really broad range of children. So special needs kids are absolutely welcome. You just need to make sure that we know how to best assist your child, and set them up for success in the classroom.
Anything else you all have questions about? Overloaded your mind? Probably so. I always feel like at the end of these meetings, I'm like,
Like, why would
so much. Why are they doing this crazy people? Yeah.
I have a preschool question. Just for me, but are the two youngest classes like separated?
Yes, they are, but I don't know if that will happen next year. Again, it depends on the ages of people. But yes, the youngest, the 3 and 4-year-olds met in this nursery room over here, and then the TK kindergarten class met in one of the modulars. So they are separated, and I think they did the same. They did the same curriculum basically. And what she does is pick a theme for the day. So one day it was apples, I think. So they did like apple painting. They tried all different kinds of apples. Red apple books, yes. Probably like counted apple seeds, anything with apples. That's what they do. It's like a theme that goes along, colors. And the moon phases with Oreo cookies. You like cutting out the icing on the Oreo cookies. It was really cute. So they do a lot of cute stuff, but learning appropriate for their age level.
I know.
Anything else? All right, well, if you have questions, feel free to contact us, email if you think of something later on. Thank you very much, and thank you, ladies, for coming here tonight. Hopefully this recording worked, and we'll be ready for next time. Let's see if it'll work.